Three things came to mind while watching The Last Movie Stars.
I haven't painted in a while.
I wish I could have hung out with Paul Newman. Today I'm going to paint my first self-portrait, and in it, I'm going to be hanging out with Paul Newman. Now, although Paul is primarily known as an actor and one of the original stars of old Hollywood, he was also a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, a race car driver, and he served in the US Navy. So he was, by all definitions, an interesting man. As an actor myself, there are a list of different actors and actresses from the past that I would have loved to have gotten advice from or just had a conversation with. Given all the reasons that I just mentioned, he's definitely one of them. Now, obviously, Paul is no longer with us. The plan is to find a cool photo of him that I like, Photoshop myself into it, and create my own memory. This would end up being harder than I thought because Paul was cool as hell and had a ton of great shots. But this was the winner, him at the Indianapolis 500. Then I had to get a photo of myself that looked like I could have been hanging out with Paul, and this was the winner. And after adjusting the colors a bit to look a little bit more saturated and vintage, I'm done with my image. So I cropped this out, placed it on the photo next to him to look like we were hanging out, and got started on my underdrawing. And once you see that burnt sienna background, that means it's painting time. I've always been familiar with Paul Newman. I mean, how could you not be? Whether it's from Cool Hand Luke, or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, or his salad dressing. I mean, there's many ways to be familiar with who Paul Newman is. But what really made me respect him and appreciate him even more was the Ethan Hawke documentary I mentioned at the beginning, The Last Movie Stars, about him and Joanne. I wasn't aware that he went through so much personal and professional adversity in his life. And yes, he made it look easy at many times. But as an aspiring actor myself, I find it comforting knowing that someone of his caliber went through a lot of the insecurities and the challenges and the never feeling like enough and all these things that are really challenging to overcome in this pursuit. I think it's easy for us to forget that some of the greats, especially the ones that made it look easy, were still going through a lot of the same things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And it just made me like him even more. Before diving into the actual self-portrait of this painting, I like to do the clothing first. It's just the easiest part. It's the most comfortable thing for me. I'm able to move through it really quickly, mainly because there's not as much specificity. You know, if each crease and line and color is not exact, you don't really know, and it'll still look good. But if somebody's nose or eyes or face are wrong, it could ruin the whole painting. Before I could finish this section, the hand's missing. I needed to retake this photo, sit in the same position so that I could snap something that looks similar. Let's see, that should work. All right, we're good. Now, before moving on to the face, I get to do one more first of mine, which is painting some of my tattoos. The first is my family crest. My family came to the US from England at some point around the 1600s, and my second is my finger tattoo, which is actually my logo. It's my first name in a box that I learned how to do in 3rd or 4th grade. I always knew I would use it for something. Now I use it to sign my paintings, and it's my brand logo. Today I'm painting someone I've known my entire life, my biggest supporter and biggest critic, the source of all my ideas, even the ones I hate, and the person who relentlessly encourages me to try things. I actually didn't start painting till I was around 30 years old. In fact, all of my creative pursuits didn't start until late in my 20s when I started acting. A year in, I quickly realized that there was going to be a lot of downtime in between projects and auditions, so I needed to find something that would fill the creative void in my life. Something I had control over from start to finish, and something that I could do in my own time. I went to Michael's, bought an acrylic starter kit, and happened to land on an obsession. So I appreciate this person here for always pushing me to create. After all, Our creations in life are what people will remember us for. When I created this original reference photo, I didn't have any idea for a background, so I used Midjourney AI to help me generate one. The prompt I used was full body shot of people standing watching the Indianapolis 500 year 1985, looking to the left, dressed casually. Then I brought it into Canva, moved it around a bit, and placed it behind the image. I went with black and white for the background so that Paul and I were the focal point, and because it gives it kind of this vintage look. First an outline, and then I laid down all the darkest grays first, then I moved on to sort of the mid-tone grays, and then worked my way all the way up. Anytime I mix gray, I usually put one color in it. In this case, I used yellow to give it sort of that old vibe. Then after touching up all the remaining background spots, adding the highlights and different things to my hair, and adding the pepper to my man Paul's hair, and giving him some final highlights, this thing's officially done.
Got a hunch it's me from here on in.